Hey guys, I hope you all are doing well. Today I am here to talk about everything that I read in the month of September, and I am very happy to report that I have finally gotten over the massive reading slump that has been 2017 so far. In the month of September, I managed to read 4 books and start another 2, so I'm going to just go through these in the order in which I read them. The first book that I read in the month of September was Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mayes, which I actually have a full written review of on my blog, so I will link that in the cards in case you guys are interested. Now, I picked this one out as part of the Crown Publishing Blogging for Books program, and I did so because I am a massive fan of the film starring Diane Lane, where she, goes to Tuscany as part of this post-divorce midlife crisis and ends up buying a dilapidated villa. I wanted to mention that straight up because this book is very much not the film. The film had a plot. This doesn't really. This is Frances's memoir of buying a run-down Tuscan villa with her then boyfriend Ed. It is very much written in kind of a journal style where, there's no real point to the stories that she's telling. She's just telling them so that she can record the memory and the moment and the experience. I actually found that quite enjoyable, and I think this would make for a really great vacation reading, specifically if you were maybe in Italy or on a beach somewhere and you just wanted some light reading. But a lot of people on Goodreads had a really strong opinion about why they did not like that, and I can see where they're coming from. It does ramble a little bit. It doesn't feel like it has a point, but that's just because she didn't write it to have a point, if that makes sense. The other thing I would definitely mention is that this is not traditional travel writing. So if you're looking for a book to describe to you the sights and sounds of Italy, this is not going to be the book for you. It's not like she's traveling around Italy trying to give her readers a taste of Italy, because again, that wasn't the point. The point was just to record her experiences restoring this house. Ultimately, I ended up giving this one 3 stars because, like I said, it is an enjoyable read, but I don't think it's anything super spectacular. So yeah, good start to the month, but not anything amazing. Next up, I read Days Without End by Sebastian Barry, and I actually listened to this on audiobook narrated by Aidan Kelly. Again, I have a full-length video review on this one, so I will link that in the cards as well. But this was, of course, longlisted for the 2017 Man Booker Prize, and I absolutely loved it. Days Without End is the story of a young Irishman named Thomas McNulty, who has immigrated to the US and has fallen in love with another man, John Cole, and it basically tells his story of like all the adventures he gets up to with John Cole, from working as professional women at a dance hall to fighting in the Indian and American Civil Wars and adopting a young Indian girl named Winona. I know this one has been getting kind of mixed reviews, but I personally really enjoyed it. I loved the tone of Thomas's narration, and I think the audiobook narrator really lended to that. It was just this really immersive experience, and it very much felt like early American fiction, and I really loved that. Barry also somehow managed to make warfare sound really beautiful and intimate, and I know that sounds weird, but honestly, the war scenes in this book are absolutely stunning. Now, although I really loved the book, I did only end up giving it 4 stars, mainly because it was slightly repetitive, and I felt like the ending just kind of like popped out of nowhere and kind of was really rushed, but otherwise I think this is a stunning book, and it's really too bad that it didn't make it to the Man Booker shortlist. Then I actually read a picture book in the month of September, which I haven't done in a very long time, and that was The Jester Has Lost His Jingle by David Saltzman. This is a very cute storybook about this jester who is trying to entertain the court and finds that nobody is laughing and that he has lost his jingle. Like, his bells won't jingle and make people laugh anymore. So he and his like little talking stick friend Farley here go on an adventure to find laughter and see where it's gone and why nobody else is laughing. And it's just a really cute story. I think it has a really good message that, even if you're sad, you can make yourself laugh and you can find happiness and laughter within yourselves. And I really liked it. I think the drawings are a bit simplistic. They're not maybe the kind of illustrations I personally find myself really drawn to, but it's very cute, and it was really short, and I think if you have kids especially who are kind of going through a rough time, I think this would be something that I know I as a kid really would have enjoyed. And finally, in the month of September, I reread for probably the millionth time, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. Now I'm holding this up just so I have something to show you here, but I actually listened to the audible, let me try that again. I actually listened to the audible version of this, which was narrated by Elijah Wood, and I have to say, of all the things I've ever seen or heard Elijah Wood in, that's probably my favorite. He did a phenomenal job, and I mean, I never would have pictured Huck as Elijah Wood, but he had the perfect voice, and just honestly, it was one of the best audiobook narrations I've ever heard. So if you have an Audible account, definitely go check it out. Huck Finn is actually one of my favorite books of all time, classic or otherwise, and I picked it up this time around because something about Days Without End just really reminded me of Huck Finn and had me craving it. This is of course the story of the young boy Huck Finn, who has a no-good drunk of a father named Pap, and who was adopted or taken in by the widow Douglas at the end of Mark Twain's other novel, Tom Sawyer. I know a lot of people prefer Tom Sawyer because they think it's a more pure adventure story, whereas this is maybe a little bit more topical or political, but I really love that about Huck Finn. I love that you can read it on multiple levels, and I definitely have been able to do that the longer I've read it. For example, I read this probably for the first time when I was about 12, and at that point I totally thought of it as just a fun adventure story, where Huck and his friend Jim got to go down the river and have a grand old time. But as I read it again in high school for class, and then again in college, and then again for fun, and then again this time, I've been able to pick up on more and more, and just kind of, I don't know, I think that's what really makes a great book, is that it's something that can grow up with you and something that you can get more and more out of each time you read it. Oh, and I feel like this should go without saying, but again, I gave this one 5 stars. So that is what I completed during September, but I did start a few other things, and the first one I have here is Amy Tan's new memoir, Where the Past Begins, a Writer's Memoir. This is going to be published on the 17th of October here in the US, so we will have a review of this up on April Magazine, and I have to say I'm really enjoying this so far. It is quite clever, quite witty, and yet she's dropping some like real pearls of wisdom, so enjoying that. And then the other thing I started during September was Five Came Back by Mark Harris. This is of course a nonfiction book about Hollywood and World War II, and I have to say I'm only about 2-3 chapters into this, but I'm really enjoying it so far. Unfortunately, I don't know a whole lot of the films or directors they're referencing, so it's kind of making me want to go and watch these things and look up these directors once I've finished with the book, but so far so good. So that was my September in books, and if you have read any of these books, I would of course love to hear your thoughts on them down in the comments below, but otherwise that's all I have for today's video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please send all of your fall, autumn vibes this way, because it is about 82 degrees in my apartment right now, and that's just too hot for the start of October. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you are having a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!